Hey, what's going on? This is Amanda Crusader, and today we're going to be looking at a standard 2022 deck, Golgari Sacrifice. Now, for those of you who don't know, standard 2022 is an MTG Arena only format that basically only allows you to play cards from sets that are not going to be rotating out come rotation in September. So basically anything from Zendikar Rising and forward is allowed in that format. It's going to be a temporary format. It's going to go away once the rotation comes. But for now, we can play using the cards just from Zendikar Rising and up as a little taste of what the new standard's going to be. And this deck is made for that. So this is a deck that's kind of my own creation. I found the basic shell of it online, but I sort of did my own thing with it. So without further ado, let's jump into the deck. So this is basically just your standard Golgari sacrifice. You put things on the board, you sacrifice them, and through sacrificing them, you generate some value. So for our 1-drops, we've got Bloodchief's Thirst, just a good card in general, 1/2 of our removal suite. We have our card sacrifice fodders, the things we sacrifice that aren't tokens. Those being, of course, Eye Twitch and Shambling Ghast. You also have Village Rites, just a absolute banger of a card. This is our main, one of our main sacrifice outlets. Moving over to the 2-drops, we've got Sacrifice Fodder Generation and Hunt for Specimens. Pests are going to be our main sacrifice fodder, our biggest sacrifice targets. Don't get me wrong, Eye Twitch and Shambling Ghast are great, and they generate a lot of value, but pests, we're going to be making a lot more of those than we are Eye Twitches and Shambling Ghasts. And Hunt for Specimens is a part of that. It creates one and allows us to learn, and we'll get to the lessons in a second. Next up, we got Plum the Forbidden, our other main sacrifice outlet. Just a great card, allows us to draw a lot of cards, gain a lot of value. If we're using this on pests, gain a lot of life, which triggers Dina's Soul Steeper. We'll get to her in a second. So, yep, great card. Just a great card. Next up, we got Deadly Brew. This doubles as, not just doubles, this card is pure value right here. Each player sacrifices a creature. So normally this would be bad, but we want to be sacrificing creatures, so we can just sacrifice some of our sacrifice fodder, while our opponent actually has to sacrifice something that they may not want to sacrifice. And if we sacrifice something this way, we may return another permanent card from our graveyard to our hand, so we could bring back Eye Twitch or Shambling Ghast for more sacrifice fodder. We can bring back one of our actual good creatures that make this deck work. This is just a little graveyard retrieval, removal, and sacrifice fuel all wrapped up into one neat package. Like I said, this card is just value personified. Next up, Dina's Soul Steeper. Basically just diet Veto Thorn of the Duskrows. Whenever we gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. We can also use her to sack things and power her up so she deals more damage. Very key part of the deck. Next up is Witherbloom Apprentice. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, our opponent loses 1 life and we gain 1 life. Just some nice extra damage and life gain, which is important for one of our other cards. Next up, we got 2 copies of Sedgemoor Witch. More of these is better. If you can play more of them, do so. I only have 2, and currently I'm trying to build a historic Rakdos mana base, so I'm not spending my rare wild cards on this, but still, 2 is plenty for this deck. I found actually this is a pretty good number. So A 2 and a black for a 3/2. If your opponent targets her, they have to pay 3 life, which is just great. She also has Menace, which is even better. And whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we create a pest. So this card, it can attack really well. It costs your opponent's life to deal with it. It's cheap, it's got good stats, and it creates sacrifice fodder. It's a bunch of value rolled up into one. It's just great. Next up is Mortality Spear. Basically, just destroy target non-land permanent. Good stuff. It looks more expensive than it actually is. It costs 2, a black and a green, but if we gained life this turn, it only costs a black and a green, and sacrificing pests and Witherbloom Apprentice are all about gaining us life. So more often than not, you're just going to be casting this for a black and a green, really. Finally, we have a one-off Professor Onyx as just an alternate win con, and just to top off our curve, really. The mana base is a little on the scuffed side. We've got 2 Darkboar Pathways, a Necroblossom Snarl, 2 Hive of the Eye Tyrants, 10 Swamps, and 7 Forests. You know, it gets the job done. It's not the most consistent thing in the world, but, you know, it works. It just works. Finally, we have our lessons. We got Environmental Sciences for some mana fixing, Necrotic Fumes for some removal, Containment Breach and 3 Pest Summonings for just sacrifice fodder, and Mascot Exhibition if we need a really big game winner. So, yeah, that's the deck. It's not really that complicated. There's not a lot of moving parts. It's literally just put sacrifice fodder on the board, sacrifice fodder, and win the game. That's all there is to it. So, with that said, let's get into some matches. Before we do, a quick reminder that if you like my content, hit the like button. That's what it's there for. Subscribe, ring the bell, comment any other decks that you'd like me to play. I will do my best to play them. Any other games that we play as well, put those in the comments below, and I will do my best to play those. And without further ado, let's get into some games. Alright. Let's see what we have here. This is a really good opening hand. This is really nice. We're going to keep that. Put out a swamp, and let's actually do Shambling Ghast. Lotus Cobra, definitely the right call to put out Shambling Ghast, because now we can Village Rites the Shambling Ghast and kill off Lotus Cobra, while also grabbing 2 cards. Looks like we're playing against Gruul Landfall. This is gonna hurt right here. So, let's Bloodchief Thirst the Brushfire Elemental and put out Dina. Another Lotus Cobra. We can hit that with Bloodchief's Thirst. Another Neverwinter Dryad. And I think we're going to put out Witherbloom Apprentice. Bloodchief's Thirst the Lotus Cobra. Gain a life, make our opponent lose a life. Make our opponent lose another life due to Dina. And no attacks. Another Lotus Cobra. That is lucky for them, but I think we are somewhat putting them a little behind curve. Honorary slays the troll. At least we got rid of the Lotus Cobra. Swamp. Put out Witherbloom Apprentice. And an Eye Twitch. We're gonna hold. Our opponent is top decking now, which is good. We are going to take the hit. We're gonna take the hit because we want to plumb our Eye Twitch. Deal 2 damage to our opponent. Deal 4 damage to our opponent. I would like a Pest Summoning. We are able to grab the Mortality Spear. And we're going to use that on our Neverwinter Dryad. Force them to sack it. They still lose 2 life. And we're just going to attack with our Witherbloom Apprentice. Bring them down to 10 health. And that's game. So this deck can really spiral. It can really spiral. Once you start casting spells, you got both Apprentice and Dina on the table at the same time. They play off of each other really well, and and it gets to the point where every single time you cast a spell, you're dealing 2 damage to the opponent, and that's really cool. All right. You know, this may be a mulligan, especially considering we're on the... you know what? We're on the draw. We'll keep this. Hello, friend. Now, we need to draw land in order for our Snarl to come into play untapped. But it looks like we did not draw one, which is fine. The big thing here is we're going to have a very big Plumb the Forbidden if we put out all of our sacrifice fodder here. We're basically going to restock our hand, although it is going to hurt a little bit. We're going to get a little... We're not going to get all of them. We're going to do a Village Rites here, learn up a card. I think it's going to be Environmental Sciences. Draw 2. There's another swamp. So we can put on Eye Twitch. Actually, not another swamp. Our first swamp. But it is another black mana. Attack for 2. And price of loyalty. It's fine. Ah, he has a village rights of his own. Looks like... Oh, this is probably Rakdos treasure, isn't it? Okay. I wonder what lesson our opponent is gonna pull. Environmental sciences. Alright, that's fair. I think he put out Sedgemoor Witch. And the next turn, we environmental sciences, shambling ghast, and from there, then we can like truly plumb the forbidden. We can even do a hunt for specimens first before we do. Yep, definitely Rakdos treasure. Oh, he's going to frostbite it. Okay. He must think that he has a pretty good hand then. If he's willing to take the hit. I'm gonna preemptively grab a necrotic fumes. Poke for 2. He plays his environmental sciences. Grabs a red. I figured he'd want more black. Alright. Play environmental sciences of our own. I would like to grab a swamp, please. Play that. And it is plum time. Treasure. Create another treasure. Create a third treasure. Gain a life. And start drawing. And we'll grab the pest summoning. And we have 3 treasure and 2 lands. 2 lands? No, 1 land to work with. So, I would like to put out Dina. And with a Bloom Apprentice. And pray that our opponent does not have a board wipe in hand. Frostbite. That's fine. We don't exactly need the Apprentice. Song Mad Treachery. He's gonna sack that, definitely. With his own village rights. No, a deadly dispute. Alright. Well, in that case, I would like to take... Oh, well, I don't think there's any graveyard retrieval in his deck, but I suppose we'll take the Frostbite. deal 3. And pass the turn. He's gotta be playing something big with all this mana out here. Another Deadly Dispute. He's looking for something. I just don't know what it is, and I'm a little scared at this point. Another Deadly Dispute. He's definitely looking for something, and he isn't finding it. Hunt for specimens. He's gonna bring out the mascot exhibition. Inkling summoning. I see. What's Deadly Brew? Make him sacrifice something. We don't get to retrieve something from our hand, but at the very least, they can't kill or block Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Sure, Price of Loyalty. Why not? Attack for 3. And see what our opponent does. I'm a little concerned, not gonna lie. And that's it. All right. That was a bit abrupt. Didn't really expect that, but hey, a win's a win. A win is a win. All right. Let's see what we have here. 3 swamps. We have a little bit of card draw and a little bit of mana fixing from learning environmental sciences with Eye Twitch. So I'm gonna keep this. Draw some cards. Grab environmental sciences. Put our hand back up to 7. Grab a forest. And that's the turn. Orzhov Clerics, I see. Always fun. Bring out Dina. And bring out Shambling Geist. And Blood Chief's Thirst, the Cleric. What's the Foretold card? I'm assuming it's like Poison the Cup or something? Whatever it is, it's got another one. Let's put out Wither the Apprentice. And let's start the sack chain. Token. Draw 2 cards. Got Hive the Eye Tyrant. And deal 3 damage over the course of the turn. Angel Vitality. And an Expedition Healer. Alright, Deadly Brew. Now we can cast Mortality Spear. I would like to return Shambling Ghast to my hand. I would like to create a treasure token. Mortality Spear, the Angel of Mortality. Deal some more damage. Put out another Shambling Ghast. Deal 3 more damage. And end the turn. And it is Doomscar. A favorite of control decks everywhere. Oh, we've got another Dina. And I think we're going to do specimens. Learn up Necrotic Fumes. I guess we're gonna risk our Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It just come in tapped and useless. So what does our opponent have planned after that Doomscar? Closing statement. Okay. My turn. Oh, I guess we're gonna attack for 4. I would like to take away Cleric. Put our opponent down to 6. And end the turn. Priest of Ancient Lore. And a Dawnbringer Cleric. Alright. Well, I think we will... I guess we'll just... Well, we're gonna kill both, so... Eventually. I think it's important to get this 3 damage in here, though. Get rid of Expedition Healer. See what our opponent plays. Freya's Retribution. And Luminar Aspirant. Yeah, that's game. That's game right there. Yeah, that's game. Well, it's amazing how quickly just one turn can sway things. Just boom, Freya's Retribution, Luminarch Aspirant, and just win the game. Alright. This is a pretty decent hand. We've got 2 Deadly Brews, a Hunt for Specimens, Turn 3 Sedgemoor Witch. I'd like a little bit more sacrifice fodder, but what can you do? let's see. Is our opponent going to mulligan? Apparently not. Fire Blade Charger. Probably some form of goblins, I would suppose. No. Yes. Definitely goblins. Absolutely goblins. Alright, put out Sedgemoor Witch. And if we draw a land next turn, we are set. Because you can grab Witherbloom Apprentice, then hunt for specimens, then we can start using our Deadly Brews to clear their board. Not gonna block. And there's our land. Alright, Witherbloom Apprentice. Specimens. We see a pair of goblins. We are going to grab... There's really a toss-up between Pest Summoning and Necrotic Fumes. But I think I'm gonna need a little bit more removal than I am not. Because our Deadly Brews are great. Alright. Plum Forbidden is very tempting, but okay, he sacrifices a token, as I figured he would. But we're gonna Mortality Spear the Battlecry Goblin. Another you see a pair of goblins. And we're not gonna attack. We're gonna hold. And that's game. Once you take out their big pieces, once you take out Battlecry Goblin, you know, Goblins folds pretty easily. So yeah, that is Standard 2022 Golgari Sacrifice. It's a fun little deck. It's, you know, it's not a S tier top meta deck in the format, but it's fun. It can get some wins. And it's not all that complicated to play, and overall, it's actually pretty cheap. Like, 90% of the cards in here are commons or uncommons. The only real rares being the Sedgemoor Witch, obviously, the Professor Onyx, the couple of rare lands, the Hive, the Pathway, the Snarl, and the Mascot Exhibition. So it's a pretty good intro into the new standard format. That's gonna be coming out. Well, it's out now, but the rotation is gonna be coming in September. It's a fun introduction to it. It's relatively cheap to get into. I think this is a pretty good new player deck, personally. So if that's your thing, if you're someone looking to get into the game, hey, I recommend giving this deck a try. So yeah, that's about it. Remember, if you like my content, like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment other decks and games you would like me to play. And that's about it. See ya.